Welcome back to the WCS Season 1 Final. We've reached our last match of the day, the final quarterfinal. It will be innoVation versus aLive. I'm Montecristo, and joining me, as always, is Doa.
Yep, that's right, man. It's time for some more TVT, and this is my kind of day. Half of the day has been TVT. It's been great. We saw a great series between MVP and 4GG. MVP, of course, taking that one. Now we get to see if innoVation or aLive will move on to the semifinals. And, I mean, in this match, even though aLive is a very good player, very good TVTer, I feel like we have a clear underdog story here for aLive, the player on Evil Geniuses. I mean, he is, again, I talked about it yesterday in the group stages. I really do believe he is one of the most underestimated and underrated players in all of StarCraft. He's been good for a very long time, but here we go again, and I lead off by saying that he's the underdog. I mean, he is, but again, if he wins this match, it'll be just kind of like what aLive does. You know, he just wins matches against people, and you're like, oh, well, yeah, aLive's a really good player. I guess I'm not surprised, but every match he goes into, people are going to be like, well, I expect the other guy to probably take it. And it's the same for this. I mean, he's going up against innoVation, the reigning WCS runner-up for Korea Season 1, an excellent player in every matchup, really. TVT, no exception. aLive's going to have to come up with a lot of creative builds, and we, either way, we're going to see a really great semifinals and then finals, too.
Absolutely. And these players, of course, duking it out to see who goes up against MVP, the winner of WCS Europe. So it's going to be a tough match and another TVT for whoever wins today.
Well, I mean, with 4GG's lauded TVT coming into that with, I believe it was 94% was the number that they put on that. And MVP, man, he kind of made him look like a chump a little bit. He destroyed him. And it wasn't that I don't know. We got sort of part of the games. We didn't get to really focus on him too much because we were on the other stream and we were talking with TLO and all that. So we were catching bits and pieces there. But really, it just seemed like a lot of MVP, doing what he does, which is find out how you play and then counter that with his huge library of different builds. It's like MVP, looks at what somebody does in the first game or two, and he goes, oh, let me look at my book of builds. He's like, oh, this would be perfect against you, and then he pulls it out and beats you with it. It's like, that's what MVP does. Crazy match. But moving on, there is innoVation, Lee Sin Young from STX Seoul.
And you can see right now a very small sample size versus Terran in the WCS, 2-1 only. And of course, he ran through all of those Zergs to reach the finals in WCS Korea, hence the 18-7 that you see versus Zerg. But we're not going to see that matchup today. But anyway, the rest of his matchup is pretty underplayed because of how many Zergs he faced consecutively in WCS Korea.
Yeah, it was a ton. I believe it was his record eventually up to the finals was something like 13-1 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was the playoff rounds from the quarterfinals. It was Roro, Symbol, and then finally Soulkey.
Yeah. I guess it'd be 2 losses because he did lose twice against Symbol. Yeah, that's right. Well, here's our other Terran player from Evil Geniuses. It is aLive. It's aLive. Oh, it is. Yeah. This guy's so good, man. He won IPL 4. He did extremely well this season in America. Managed to come in and get one of those semifinal spots.
And there you go. Cheerful for aLive.
Oh, I can't read that. I actually don't know that word. Oh well.
And he's 5-3 so far in the WCS. So both of these guys having those winning records against Terran, but again, a pretty small sample size, all things considered.
My Korean will never be as good as Day 9's Apollo's, apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, you have something to work on then. You have a goal, a goal in life.
Indeed. So let's check out the maps, guys. We've got Whirlwind, Akalon Waste, Star Station, Daybreak, and Neoplanet S. Looks like Belshir Vestige and Newkirk Precinct were vetoed.
That's right, and Daybreak will be up first.
Yep.
So the most standard of standard maps for our first match here in the final quarterfinal. And this will be the last match today. By the way, guys, we will be doing the semis and the grand final tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow that will actually be at Jamshil Student Gymnasium. It's going to be a huge arena. It's going to be a ton of fans. It's going to be such a great match, a great day of games, semifinals and the finals. And then I believe they have sort of like a college rivalry match early on. I'm not sure if that's going to be on stream or not, but it's a big deal here in Seoul. The two kind of like biggest colleges going at it in a StarCraft battle, so that'll be neat. Neat to see. I gotta say, I love our booths too.
Yeah, very cool. They rebuilt them for this season.
Yeah, that's right.
There we go, innovation.
These guys have been joking around like crazy in lobby chat, by the way, so a lot of funny. But now it is all seriousness. aLive getting ready to jump into game.
We are heading in. It'll be daybreak. All right. The WCS Season 1 Finals. innoVation, your blue Terran player from STX Seoul. You're on daybreak at the 2 o'clock position. And his opponent, the red Terran, aLive from Evil Geniuses. And he'll be spawning at 7 o'clock.
So we'll see what kind of builds these guys have planned for us. There's just almost an infinite variety right now in TVT. It was always the most diverse matchups in Wings of Liberty as far as what build options the players could go with, but Heart of the Swarm has just blown that wide open. And I mean, we were talking to TLO on the other stream during the last match, and you know, we were talking about how right now, I mean, TVT just is not very figured out. There's still a ton of experimentation. It results in a lot of crazy situations, just like kind of some of the stuff we saw in MVP versus 4GG, and wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing here. Gas first from aLive, so right away starting off with some teching.
Very interesting stuff, and we saw such a variety of strategies in that last TVT as well. Yeah. As you're saying, you know, we're sitting down with TLO, he was saying, you know, TVT is still kind of a wild matchup. It hasn't quite been totally figured out yet. There's so much diversity in terms of what you can do. Yes, we see a lot of mechs, but in that last game, we saw that really intelligent bio push by MVP to close it out before the mech could really get rolling for 4GG.
I mean, a lot of that too is MVP's just extremely good micro handling that. It's always a bit risky to do that sort of bio push without any medevacs to kind of shore it up, but he did a great job. And I mean, in this world of extremely tech-heavy openings in TVT, a standard good old-fashioned stim timing push can be very strong if you control it well. And on the second stream, as you can see, they're having a little chat with 4GG himself, Day9 and Apollo over there with Chobra. Looks like they're wrapping that up, actually, but they still will be chatting and talking about these games. So if you want a little bit more laid-back experience, go check that out. As is, back to our game right now. innoVation doing a bit of scouting, sees the factory timing and everything, so he should have a good idea of what that means, that the factory comes fast because of that gas first. innoVation himself actually going for barracks first, but not going for anything like a fast command center. So they will be, you know, both kind of teching a little bit here. We'll see what the plan is, though.
Yeah, I'm very...
Oh, that Marine just totally got juked.
I'm very intrigued. You know, we do see the later command centers compared to the last TVT that we just saw. And look at that, innoVation hiding the SCV in the corner of the base for some later scouting, but aLive looks like he's, doesn't quite see it.
He turns around. Yeah, I mean, that is just such an unexpected thing to do. Like, nobody does that. So I'm not surprised he's not scouting it. I mean, it wouldn't be bad to do a lap around his base just in case, but yeah, he has no idea this is coming. So it's going to be some sort of drop from aLive, and no add-ons makes me think it might be that. Oh no, I take it back. There will be an add-on, in fact. He will see that Tech Lab going down the factory, so there's a pretty good chance aLive was planning on going Banshees out of this.
And now, Cat is out of the bag for
we'll
aLive. innoVation having a very good idea of what his opponent is up to.
We'll see if he changes it up now. I mean, he knows he got scouted. He may still decide to just go through with it, but he could change it. We'll see. I've got a feeling he's going to continue to do it because, at the very least, I mean, that does sort of make Terran stay a little bit more defensive. It makes your opponent kind of have to compensate for the fact that there will be Banshees soon.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. innoVation finishing up his command center, his second command center, and then picking up that reactor as well. So we'll have to see. He knows that this is a strong possibility coming towards him. Still getting those 2 Hellions out, and the Banshee on the way.
Yeah, I think innoVation's going to be in good shape to handle this. He's going to have a little bit of anti-air as long as he moves those Marines back in time, but more importantly, he's going to have a Viking out pretty quickly. He's got his starport nearly done, and so I don't anticipate innoVation taking a whole lot of damage from this. aLive now expanding as well. Basically, just going for a really actually old TVT build, fastest Banshee possible, and then a command center out of that. So aLive kicking it old school in this game early on.
It's fun to see that in Heart of the Swarm, these old builds are still really quite viable. I think it just adds to the depth of that Terran playbook.
TVT got so huge with Heart of the Swarm, man, because, yeah, really none of the old builds that I can think of really became, you know, super dead. And look at this push from innoVation. This is really interesting, actually.
And here he comes in, loses one Hellion already. Can he actually get up the ramp? Look at him repositioning to do more damage to those Marines, lining them up. And now it's 3 Marines versus 1. innoVation has breached the ramp. Can he actually finish off aLive? Marines right here. Looks like he will have some success. That Viking already out, and there's no cloak on that Banshee, of course. So Banshee not going to do too much damage before it gets torn to shreds.
Yeah, I got 5 kills, but that's not exactly worth it. And innoVation still causing trouble in the base of aLive. He's got a tank out now, so he should be able to stabilize here at this point. But he's going to be able to annoy this command center even more, yeah. Denying that one. And there's an armory actually on the way for innoVation, so we are going to see Hellbat drops following this up, it looks like.
Very exciting, and also another command center for aLive as well. So be taking back up to those 3 CCs. Faster than innoVation, 2 Vikings making their way across the map, seeing what they can see so far, but they will miss the Viking of aLive.
Yeah. And I like this by innoVation too. I mean, he's going to be able to keep the pressure on aLive, and because of that third command center, he's going to be able to put even more pressure on it because there's just not going to be as much stuff for our EG Terran player. aLive doing a little bit of landing Viking press. He gets 1. I mean, that's the thing about Widow Mines in TVT is that you need 2 of them to kill off SCVs in 1 shot. So 1 Widow Mine isn't as big of a concern, but if you follow that up with like Hellbat drops or follow it up with really any sort of drop, you can finish off all the weakened SCVs. You'll see Widow Mines used to soften up SCVs, and then a Banshee comes in to finish them off and 1-shot a bunch of them. But 1 Widow Mine by itself, not a huge danger, and that gets cleaned up by innoVation pretty quick.
All right, well, aLive going for that stim this time around. What do you make of this, Noah, in this mech-heavy matchup that we see?
I think it's
time now.
I think it's perfectly fine, and first innoVation needs to kind of deal with these Hellions before anything else.
Well, he is going to try and chase him down with the landed Vikings.
Oh wow!
In the meantime, he continues to prep for these Hellbat drops. 2 Hellions down, and there we go on the other side of the map. aLive facing some troubles.
Yeah, losing a lot of those SCVs at the natural. He's got to take it. He's got the Marines. That medevac is in trouble.
Uses that afterburner, however, and he's going to kill so many SCVs right now.
Wow.
Just devastating the mineral lines at both the natural and the main.
That's a huge blow to aLive to lose SCVs like that, and he's going to send out immediately another Hellbat drop. That's the nice thing about doing this type of build is that Hellbats are really cheap, man. It's only 200 minerals for 2 Hellbats, and as long as you can keep the medevac safe, which is usually not terribly hard because of the Ignite Afterburner, you can do just tons and tons of drops. He's got 2 coming out at the same time.
That's right, not content with
that medevac
the economy. Got to be careful, it's going to drop. 1 goes down with the medevac, and the Hellbat doing nothing, but these SCVs get chased out.
Yeah, that one not really being controlled. He had that one on autopilot a little bit. So, again, just denying some mining, and immediately another drop coming out for innoVation. He is just relentless with this. And aLive, you know, he's not going to get a whole lot of use out of that 3rd command center pass. The only thing it's doing is kind of just shoring up the economy just a little bit because he lost some already.
And innoVation, oh,
man.
And look at that, picking off the medevac himself. So innoVation right here up with an extremely large supply lead at this point in time.
He can afford to lose these medevacs a little bit more frivolously than other Terrans would be because he's just getting so far ahead with this. Things looking a little bit rough, and here comes even more Hellbats. I mean, I think innoVation knows that he can kind of make the small investment into keeping aLive's worker count low, keeping him in his base, and honestly, I think it's great. I think innoVation may already have this game kind of on lockdown.
And 3 more Hellbat drops coming in right now. He does have those Marines, but it's not going to be enough to deal with 6 Hellbats in his main.
He can even kill the siege tank with this if he micros his medevacs properly.
Oh my, indeed, and he's trying to spread out those SCVs aLive, but it may just be too much. innoVation just wearing aLive down bit by bit. And there we go again, stopping that mining.
Killing 2 meals too, and that's a big deal because he kind of needs those meals to store up where the SCVs have not been able to kind of fill in because of all the losses. aLive just losing too much here.
Oh, and more SCVs go down. innoVation tripling the supply of aLive right now.
Yeah. This is the power of Hellbats right here, guys. I mean, if you can get that little edge, you can just keep pounding away at your opponent until they're dead. I mean, and the thing is INnoVation has been able to macro behind this. It's a big investment to keep losing these things, but in the terms of this specific game, it's an investment that is totally worthwhile on INnoVation's part.
Well, he's just crushed aLive's economy. Wally, we saw him moving out before that last drop to land his third. And there we go, GG.
Yeah. aLive thinking about it, realizing that he's just a bit too far behind and deciding to move on to the next game. A lot of times, you know, if you're in that best of format, this is a best of 5, no need to tire yourself out with a game number 1 that you're pretty much guaranteed to lose. Might as well just say, all right, it's a loss, move on to the next one. Good decision by aLive, I think, to just call it there and move on.
Just excellent drop play from INnoVation, as we've come to expect from this player. That's what he's known for a reason.
He's looking pretty scary, man, and aLive, you know, looking a little bit frazzled maybe from that, but again, only game 1 of a best of 5, so he's definitely not out yet by a long shot. Akelon Wastes is going to be our next map.
Well, as we were talking about this earlier, as we were talking to TLO about this, and it really is, it rewards mech play so much right now. It's such a safe way to get 4 bases and then just mech extremely heavily off of it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot you can do with it, and a lot of it, too, is the map pool we have right now as well, where the map pool just is not very conducive to a lot of very sort of positional bio play that we've seen in the past. I mean,